Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Win Your Daily Battles podcast. My name is Jamie, and I'm the host for today's show. It's an honor for me today to interview this young, lovely, brave, strong, inspiring girl, just because I'm so used to interviewing adults in my podcast. And for a change, why not learn from someone young who's been through so much, and yet I see this glow and smile in her face. And even starting this podcast, we encountered some problems, and yet she was just there patient and cheering me on because I believe that this encounter is meant to be shared. And so for my podcast for today, I have this young woman who got diagnosed with leukemia at age 7. And she's currently 13 years old. She helped pass a law that helps research on childhood cancer called the STAR Act. She's actually met the president and she's been to the White House. Can you guys imagine that at a young age? I mean, I could only wish for these things. And so having her on the show right now is such a flatter because I actually read her book as well entitled Better Angels. And we're going to talk in detail about that from the author herself. So ladies and gentlemen, please welcome on today's podcast show, the little Miss Sadie Keller. Hi, Sadie.
Hi, Miss Jamie. How are you? I'm so happy. Thank you for having me on your podcast.
Oh yeah, I'm very happy to have you too. I'm so excited to actually hear your story from you because I saw your social media, I read your book 2 days straight. I just didn't put it down because I was so inspired and I can relate in so many levels because I myself am a survivor and I'm still in the battle right now. So I want to hear it straight from you. So in behalf of our audience who are not familiar with you, can you please share us about who you are and what you do and what you're up to lately?
Hi everyone. I'm Sadie Keller. I went through a cancer called acute lymphoblastic leukemia, and my type of cancer was 2.5 years long. So I finished whenever I was 10 years old, about 3 years ago now. And I have my own foundation called the Sadie Keller Foundation, where I help kids just like me who are fighting childhood cancer. And I love to lobby on Capitol Hill for different acts and laws to help other kids with cancer. And I've recently written a book, Better Angels. And yeah, I'm really excited to talk all about, Better Angels today. And yeah, just happy to be here.
We are happy to be here with you as well. I feel your energy and I just can't help but smile looking at you. What made you decide to record a video of your experiences? Because that's the one that prompted you to be on social media and then eventually write a book. I have the same experience, but in my case, when I got the diagnosis for breast cancer, I just felt so lonely because I'm by myself here in America. My family's not here. I have best friends and everyone, but my immediate family's not here. So I just felt that I needed to talk and let it out because it was so much for me to take. So my intention wasn't even thinking about helping others for that time. It's more like I just needed to release this pain and this worry, and I just pulled out my phone and started talking because I did TV in the Philippines before, so it was natural for me to talk on camera. So as a perspective of a child like you were so young. So what triggered you to suddenly pull out a camera and start talking about your life and your diagnosis?
I'm a person who loves to know what to expect, and I don't like surprises, anything like that. And so whenever I was just thrown into this world of cancer, I kind of just, you don't know what to expect. You don't know what's going to happen. And that was really scary for me. And so I made a video about what it's like to have cancer as a child, to let kids know not to be afraid and what to expect. Because if I had that video, it would have helped me so much. And I wanted to help other kids too. And also, whenever I made that video, it was kind of like a way of me venting about everything that was going on in my head, even though I had just turned 8. I just wanted to let kids know that they're going to be okay and not to be afraid.
So where did you get that strength from, Sadie? Because normally the first reaction when you receive a life-threatening illness is you get scared. It's not, I'm a grown woman, Sadie, but I broke down. I just got scared thinking about all these possible scenarios. But your initial reaction was oh, I want to help others, that they're going to be okay. Where did you get that strength to believe that all will be well?
I kind of just like knew that I had to keep a positive attitude. I hate to be sad. I hate to feel like that. And I know so many other people do. And in those hard times, especially whenever you have cancer, it is so hard to just stay positive and like think that everything is going to be okay because you don't know.
Yes,
And
it's very
so,
uncertain.
right. And so that was really scary for me. And so I feel like I've always loved to help people. I like to bring people joy. I like to make them happy. And so I feel like whenever I made that video, that was my goal. I wanted to let kids know that like it's okay. And honestly, I was just like one night, I was just like wasn't doing anything, and I loved making YouTube videos. I used to make YouTube videos called Sadie's Fashion, where I would go in my mom's closet and film all our clothes. And so I just took all my medical supplies and brought them into my mom's closet and made a video explaining in detail what all of them did and does. And the feedback that we got from that video was just really amazing. Even if their kids don't have cancer, it just taught them about what it was and knowing what it is. And it's spread awareness about childhood cancer. And so I don't even really know what motivation I had, but I feel like I just knew that's what I needed to do.
Wow, you sound so mature when you talk. And it's a compliment, okay? I just feel like, wow, you're 13, but you have so much substance when you talk. I feel like I can actually carry a conversation with you, because usually 13 years old would talk about, I don't know, what do young people talk about nowadays? Justin Bieber, or I don't know, whatever,
Yeah.
cartoons or little things. But I think this experience really brought you into this space of appreciating life in general at a very young age. You've already seen that, the world cannot be perfect sometimes, but you really just
Yeah,
got to
right.
find a way to see it in a positive light. I guess that's just the way to go, because what can you do, really? Instead of wallowing and getting sad, it's still nice that we're alive right now talking, Sadie, because the
Right.
two of us are survivors, and some people don't even make it. And us being here, I always thank God every morning when I wake up and I'm moving my arms, moving my body, I'm thinking, oh, I have memory, so I'm still okay. I can breathe, I can move, I'm mobile. So the little things just give you joy. What to you was the toughest part out of all your journey in cancer? What would you think would be maybe one that really challenged you to propel to be better, because it was such a hard experience?
There was a lot of hard things that I went through myself and through other people, like I've lost friends to childhood cancer, which is really, hard because, some of them were my best friends, and that was really hard to, go through. But honestly, they're the ones who keep me motivated, and, me knowing what I went through is what keeps me motivated all the time, is wanting to fight for them, because, no kid ever should have to go through cancer. Nobody should have to go through cancer. It's horrible.
Agree.
And so I feel like just like those little hard things just made me um, want to keep fighting and want to keep doing what I do. And, I went through, whenever I was in chemo, I never got really any of like the side effects that you normally get. I got like all of the rare side effects, which I explain in my book, Better Angels. And so, really scary things. One of them caused me to have stroke like symptoms, which was really, really scary. And there's just so many like hard times that I went through. But I know that I need to keep fighting because that's really important. And, just still do what I have to do. And that's what's really important to me.
Well said. In my case, Sadie, I still experience, I call it scanxiety, because I love knowing things. I love having the knowledge. So when the scan is coming up, I don't know what it's going to show. And the anticipation is killing me, because I have to really, really stay busy before a scan, just because I don't think about it, because I just imagine, what if it comes out worse, or what if I get surprised with new things, because I am
Yeah.
exactly like you, Sadie. Fortunately, thank you, God, I barely experienced side effects. I did feel, fatigue, a little bit of nausea, but I've heard worse cases for other survivors. So to me, except for the fact that I went bald during chemo, people would never think I was sick because I was just happy and strong and a little tired, but we all get tired. So people just assume that, oh, she's probably just tired,
Yeah.
but the scan gets me a little worried that even if I feel strong and normal, what if the scan says something else? And to me, it's also
Exactly.
hard
Yeah.
to tell your loved ones, because I think we're very similar, that we're very happy souls, we're happy positive people, but people around us sometimes worry more than us, and I feel that with my friends and loved ones. So I just worry when I tell them things, because I know that they will worry for me, and I don't like people worrying for me. I like them to just cheer me
Yeah.
on and be happy.
Me too.
So right, so it's hard to kind
Hmm.
of like tell them that, oh, hey, it's gonna be fine, don't worry about me, like I'll make it, we'll do what we can. So yeah, but anyway, I want to know, by the way, before we get so deep into this talk, I am so excited to know about your experience with passing the Star Act. And oh my God, you met the president. That's just so cool. And you went to the lobby of the Capitol Hill. What is it
Yeah.
like to be able to pass a legislation? Because it's something I've never heard of before. I'm new in America. I've only been living here for 5 years, so I'm still learning what it's like to live here, what rights you have as a citizen. So for me,
Yeah.
when I think that's what really got me so interested in you, aside from the fact that we're both survivors, but wow, a young girl was able to pass a law. It's like it blew my mind, because in from where I'm from in the Philippines, I mean, you don't really do these things, it's something out of our reach. So please share your experience. I read it in your book, but I'd rather hear it from you, and
Yeah.
of course the audience as well.
Yeah. Well, lobbying is like one of my favorite things to do. I lobby through an organization called Kids v Cancer. And honestly, it's like a way of just sharing my story and having it, have a really big impact. And the STAR Act, it stands for Survivorship, Treatment, Access, and Research. And survivorship was a really big part of that act because not many kids do survive with childhood cancer. And if they do, they have long term side effects. And also, the STAR Act is the most comprehensive bill ever passed into law for childhood cancer. So it was very, very important. And like whenever it was passed and I was like standing next to the president's side, it was like so amazing and incredible. Not only just being next to the president, but like also knowing, like mostly knowing how much it's going to help and what difference it's going to make, because it was really important. And all my work, like in me like lobbying for that, seeing how it's actually, and so many kids lobbying for it, having it now be able to help so many other kids is what like really meant the most to me. And it was just like, I can't even like explain how I was feeling. Like I
Oh my
was
God, I can
beyond
imagine.
excited. Like it was one of the most amazing things I've ever done in my entire life, and I'll like literally never forget it.
So you got to meet the president up close, like he shook your hand and everything.
Yes.
It's not just like from afar. You really stood next to the president and shook
Yeah.
the hand. And oh my God, that's gonna be mind blowing. Oh my God, if that was me, I would be so starstruck. I would be like, is pinch me, like, hey, is
Yeah.
this, whoo, am I
I
awake?
was like shaking. I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know what's gonna happen. Whenever he like walked in, it felt like it didn't even feel real. Like it felt like I was watching TV. There
Yeah.
was a big screen in front of me. Like it just did not feel real, like at all. It was amazing.
And who helped you pass this law? I heard that you got help by Congressman Michael
Michael McCall.
McCall. Yeah, wow. Thanks
Yes.
to him. Thank you to him too for supporting this cause, because I am so into that. Right now, I am supporting a nonprofit organization called One at a Time. So I'm developing my own skincare line, and some of the proceedings will.
Awesome.
Thank you. Yeah. So we're doing our work, Sadie. We're doing
Yeah.
what we can to help heal the world. So I'm supporting that new org, and what they do is they just give happiness and joy to children experiencing health challenges. So even just as simple as giving them the toy that they love or giving them the food that they love. It's just a very small new org. So I just think that children really deserve the happiness. As you said earlier, no one really deserves cancer, but most especially an innocent life that's just about to start. And
Yeah.
wow, and this law, Sadie, helps research, right? Research for
Yes.
childhood cancer
Yes.
treatments. Wow. And how is it so far? Is there progress so far? How's the research going on, if
Yeah.
you know any of it?
From what I know, it's going really well. I know that like it's just gonna continue helping more kids, which really means a lot to me. And so yeah, it's doing really good.
That's awesome. Bless your heart, my child. You're so amazing to advocate for this. And you will be thanked by so many lives in the future who got saved with this research. So that's such a noble act. And
Well, thank
let's
you
go.
so much.
Of course, you're very welcome. You're blessing me with this conversation. I feel very empowered to keep moving as well, coming from a young lady like you. Sadie, let's talk about the fun part. We have one thing in common as well. Did you know that I also came out on Ellen, and I saw in your book that you did have something to do with Ellen as well. What was your experience like? Let's
Yes.
compare notes. Maybe she's listening. Hello, Ellen.
Yeah. Hello, Ellen. Yeah. Well, I've done a few like little Skype interviews with some of the producers, and the first time, one of them was I was 8, and I do this toy drive every year called Sadie Slay, and they picked up one of my interviews and wanted to interview me. And whenever they called my mom and wanted to do a Skype interview, I was like beyond excited. I've been a fan of Ellen for like ever. I always watched her videos in the hospital getting chemo. She would always just automatically bring a smile to my face. And so it's like always still been a dream of mine to be on Ellen because I just think she's so amazing. And
Yes.
so I was super excited. And in the Skype interview, whenever I was talking to the producer, she said, "Okay, Sadie, so I'm going to pop off and then I'm going to come back on about like 10 seconds later and act like, and pretend that I'm Ellen." And I was like, oh my gosh. Like, in my head, I was like, wait, Ellen likes to surprise people all the time. I really thought she was going to like come and surprise me. So I was like, oh my gosh, I had to like prepare myself a little bit. And then she came back and it was still her. And she was like, "Hi, Sadie, it's Ellen." And I was like, I'm not a very good actress, and I was only 8 years old. So I was like, oh my gosh, you're Ellen. I love you so much. I just like didn't really know what to do. But I feel like that was like really funny in this Skype interview. And but yeah, I've done a few little Skype interviews with Ellen, and every time it's just like so exciting. And I still watch Ellen all the time. She's just so incredible, and I love her so much.
Yes, I love her too. She makes me laugh, Sadie. She's one of my favorite comedians. And just like you, when I was
Yes.
recovering from chemo and I really need just to laugh and just to have fun, I watch her. And I was fortunate enough to be invited by a friend to watch her live in her shows in her studio. And since I think the producers knew I had cancer because I still was recovering from radiation at that time, my hair was just growing peach fuzz. And so the heads up game, they called me to play. And oh my God, Sadie, like literally my adrenaline shot in my entire body. And I was even like not wearing my shoes because I was resting. I was wearing heels. So I put my shoes on the floor because I was just sitting. I didn't think I'm going to get called, So,
Right.
so when I got
Exactly.
called, I just jumped. So barefoot, I went straight to the stage. And we're the opposite. If you were very like calm when you met her, I was just all over the place because I was so starstruck and my excitement couldn't be contained. So I was just jumping up and down and I'm like, oh my God, Ellen, you're alive. And I touch her hand. I'm like, you're here. Oh my God, you're not on TV. I'm like, oh my God. I was just
Yeah.
flipping. And I think she got so overwhelmed. So Ellen, if you're listening, I'm sorry. I was just so starstruck because I never in a million years did I imagine I'm gonna meet her. Because I'm not even
Exactly.
from America. Like people who get to meet Ellen are just, I don't know, celebrities or if you get lucky or something. So she has that effect, Sadie. She has that like
Yeah.
effect where you just look at her and it just doesn't feel real. I feel like she's a TV. It's like I
Yes.
find it weird that she's next to me and staring at me with those blue eyes and she's like this she's got this high energy and I'm just like, oh my God, Ellen, oh my God, it's just woo. So yeah, so it was such a fun experience. I enjoyed it as well, and I'm glad that you're
Yeah,
able
it's so amazing.
to meet her on Skype as well. I hope one day we get to see her. I mean, it would be nice.
I
Hopefully,
know.
guests us in her show or something. That would be great. It's amazing because I'm
Yeah.
also in the works of writing a book like you, so maybe we can like do a book exchange and
Awesome.
share it together.
Yes,
Yeah, that would be great.
that'd be amazing.
So Sadie, I guess I also want to ask you, since I normally give advice to adults about, you know, overcoming battles and obstacles, what would you probably advise parents on how to support their children going through cancer better? Because I bet I have listeners right now who have loved ones, or maybe they're parents of children going through what you went through, or loved ones who know a young survivor. And I'm sure in such little things you can make the journey better for young people. I guess I'm used to the adults' way of doing things, so I want to know from a perspective of someone like you how to support you better in the journey if someone's listening.
Yeah, well, one thing for me that helped myself was trying to stay positive as possible, which again was really hard in those tough times. And one thing that always helped me was my family. And there's a chapter in the book and it's called Stop Crying. And kind of the story behind it is my mom was talking on the phone and I heard her start to cry. And I looked at her and I pointed my finger and I said, and I mouthed, stop crying because I hate to see people sad. If someone is sad, I feel like I need to like just be there for them. And I was ready to, like fight and I needed my family to be strong for me, which, like not having your own parents like cry about you having cancer, like that is so hard. And that was really strong of them too, because also, if you're surrounded just by people who are sad, you automatically feel, sad. And
Exactly. I
so,
believe in energy. That's why our energy
yes,
right now is so good. I feel so excited talking to you. But if you're sad or depressed or fearful, you take it. I believe that you're like a sponge, especially if you're a kid. I think you're more open and vulnerable, so you absorb what people put out. I believe in that.
yes,
So there's
yeah,
an awareness that needs to be put. Like if you're talking to a survivor, especially a young survivor, you should be mindful of your own energy and what you put out to them.
yeah, like having just people surrounded by you, and if like people surrounded by you are like super happy, then you feel happy, like so. And just having them just be there for me, like whenever my brother would come home from school, we would like sit on the couch and like watch TV and watch cartoons together, which was, just really awesome. And whenever I was at the hospital, staying in the hospital, and I was so sick of the hospital food, my dad would come home 45 minutes away from my hospital back home and cooked up like a huge storm of all my favorite foods and come back with them in plastic bags so that I could eat those for breakfast, lunch, and dinner so that I didn't have to eat the hospital food. And, my mom never left my side. And, just being there for those loved ones is really, really important. And also just, you know, um, not trying to be like just really sad around them, even though that's really hard. Because, if they're ready to fight, then, you know, you have to be right there with them the whole time.
Wow, that's a very powerful statement. You need, I call it a village. You need a village to cheer you on to keep moving forward, because cancer is not an easy journey. And if you see people
Yeah.
so excited to help you and to see you live long, you get that feeling like, oh, I'm gonna live for my parents, I'm gonna live for my friends. And you're right about, people passing away from cancer. Unfortunately, some of them don't make it, and you kind of want to live your life for them, because you feel that, hey, I'm gonna win for, like in your case, your best friend Lily. You have such a beautiful photo at the end of the book that I keep staring at. I actually got a little teary-eyed when I saw it, because I haven't had a friend yet in my support group that passed away. So I haven't felt that loss yet. I know people who know people, but my direct contacts so far, no one has passed. So I can just imagine the feeling. And yeah, this I'll show the audience the photo in case you're watching on YouTube. This is the photo that really got to me when I saw it. I got so emotional. Such a beautiful shot, and it just speaks in volumes, like what
Yeah.
the emotion is about. And since I'm flashing your book right now, Sadie, can you tell us about Better Angels? What's your book about? What inspired you and your writing journey? How is it like?
Yeah, so my book, Better Angels, is about my journey through cancer. And but why I kind of wanted to write it was to give people hope that no matter what they're going through, any hard time, mine was cancer, that they can get through. And I always say how I turned a bad situation into a good situation by turning my cancer journey into, how now having a foundation in my own book. And I feel like so many people can do that. And in my book, I show you how. And you just have to, look for the angels because they're all around you. And the writing process was really, really amazing. And Congressman McCall writes the foreword and the afterword of the book. And honestly, I couldn't have done all of this without him. Like we're just really good teammates. We work really well together. And we have been talking about writing a book for a very long time. And now we finally have, which is really, really amazing. And, one part of the writing process was kind of hard because I had to relive some of those tough times in my treatment. But, what I really love about the book and what means really the most to me is knowing that my story and the stories of all of my friends will never be forgotten, which is just really incredible because they'll always be there for, you know, forever.
I like in the book how you detailed your hospital experiences, Sadie, because I think people just assume that when you have cancer, this is what you do. They don't really know the deep details. And you were so detailed about getting poked, about spine tap, about the emotions that go with it, and you feel nauseous and this, and you lost your hair. It's just very detailed that someone not going through it will actually get to feel it when they read the book, because you'll say, wow, this girl has been through so much. I honestly think you've been through more than I have. I mean, I've been going back and forth with the hospital, but I think with the procedures that you've been through, it was intense. And when I was reading it, I was like, oh my God, thank God this girl survived like all the pain. I salute you. You have my respect for just surviving all this with a smile, without having that grumpy attitude. You're still smiling and helping others. And if anyone out there listening, Sadie, would like to follow you and support your journey, your cause, your book, can you please tell us where we can find you?
Yeah, well, check out our Instagram pages, Sadie Keller Foundation, Better Angels Book, and also Sadie Keller underscore is my Instagram. And check out our websites, betterangelsbook.com and sadiekellerfoundation.org. And go check us out. And also get a book for yourself at those websites. So, yeah, go get Better Angels.
And if you guys missed that part, I will make sure to write in the description of this podcast all the information that Sadie said, particularly her website. I will definitely put Sadie's website in the description of this podcast. And so you can come and check it out. And please support her beautiful, noble cause, because this is just beyond my comprehension that a 13-year-old can change the world so much and help America with a law that supports other children. So, to the adults listening out there, hey guys, look at this 13-year-old. She's doing more than what we're doing. So, we better step up the game and be inspired. Sadie, thank you so much for sharing your story with me. I appreciate your trust and for sending me a copy of your book. I have it in my heart. It's one of my books in my little shelf because I do work in the library, and so I have access to all the books, but I love having certain books for myself and not borrowing. So this is going to be one of the gold ones. I appreciate your story. Thank you. And if I do have my future book, I would love to send you a copy as well. You inspired me to keep
Yes.
well. So thank you so much for guesting in the show.
Well, thank you so, so much. This was so much fun. And I just love this so much.
And I hope someday we get to meet in person. I would love to give you a proper hug when all this pandemic
Yes, I
is
know.
over. And I
Me
hope your
too.
family safe, stay safe and blessed. And before I end the show, I always ask all my guests, what would you consider your daily battle in life and how do you win over it? So it's your turn to give your spiel.
Yeah, so my daily battle in life is kind of just knowing that childhood cancer is still a thing. And just knowing that, kids are dying every day with it and going through it is really hard for me because, I went through it and I know how hard it is. And, these kids range from, babies to teenagers, and they're all going through such hard things. But what kind of helps me is knowing that, so many advocates, including myself, are, sharing our voices and are ready to fight for those kids so that, one day cancer isn't a thing anymore.
That is my vision as well, Sadie. I hope a vision of a child like you will manifest into reality that cancer is just one of those. Like flu, you have it and then
Yeah.
it goes away. You take something or you do something that will just keep it at bay and let you live your life. Very beautifully said. Thank you so much again. And I wish you a happy, healthy, safe life ahead. Many,
Thank
many,
you.
many more decades of living and healing the world. And I look forward to meeting you in person one day. Young lady, thank you so
Me
much.
too. Thank you.
So, guys, for the closing remark of this show, as I always say, winning your battles doesn't have to be a grand gesture. I mean, yes, Sadie did help pass a law in America, which is such a big thing. But if you notice with her answer about what her daily battle is, it's just about the uncertainty of cancer and for her to just keep moving forward day by day into helping by fighting in behalf of those kids who are suffering from cancer. I believe that in little acts such as staying positive and just doing what you think you can do to improve the situation is already a win enough. So people don't take life for granted. Be grateful and always remember that one day, every moment that you wake up is a blessing in itself. And you should give yourself a pat in the back for saying, hey, today I am winning because I'm still breathing, I'm still alive, and I'm still able to help and contribute to the world. So, in behalf of little Miss Sadie Keller, this is Jamie signing off for today's podcast. Let's keep winning. I'll see you again or talk to you again on the next episode. Bye, everyone. Say bye, Sadie.
Bye.